Okay, so imagine this. You're 12 years old, alone on the streets of LA.
Oh, wow.
It's a rainy night, the city lights are reflecting off the wet pavement, and people are rushing by, heading into, fancy restaurants.
Yeah.
But you're sitting on the sidewalk holding a sign.
Right.
And that's where our deep dive begins today, with a story about this girl, her kitten, and a chance encounter with Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a classic setup, right?
Right.
The stark contrast between wealth and poverty
Mm-hmm.
playing out on a rainy night in LA.
Mm.
But what our sources reveal goes way beyond a simple celebrity good deed story.
Oh, absolutely. So picture this. Keanu Reeves is stepping out of one of those upscale restaurants.
Okay.
And the source mentions that he was lost in thought, but something makes him pause.
Okay.
He sees this young girl, and even though she's practically invisible against the backdrop of, this bustling city, he notices her.
That's interesting. That detail about him being lost in thought really struck me.
Yeah.
I think it speaks to Keanu's tendency to be present and observant.
Right.
He's not just going through the motions, he's actually taking in his surroundings.
Yeah.
And that's probably why he spots the girl when so many others wouldn't have.
Totally. It's like he's tuned into a different frequency. So he approaches her, and the source emphasizes how gently he does this.
Yeah.
He asks, "Are you okay?"
Mm-hmm.
But her response is hesitant. "I need help. It's urgent."
Oh.
Why the mystery? Why not just tell him what's wrong?
Right. Well, I think it's a combination of things.
Okay.
First, she's probably encountered a lot of indifference or even hostility on the streets.
Yeah.
So there's a natural distrust of strangers.
Right.
And second, she's carrying a heavy burden.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to share that with someone you don't know.
Right.
There's a sense that maybe she's afraid to hope that anyone can actually help.
It makes you think about how we often make assumptions about people based on their appearance or circumstances,
Yeah.
right? We might see someone on the street and just walk by without a second thought.
Yeah.
But Keanu, he sees her, and instead of prying, he does something really interesting.
What's that?
He invites her to a nearby cafe.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't offer money or a lecture,
Right.
just a warm meal and a place to sit down.
Mm.
It's subtle, but it's huge.
It is huge. It's like he understands that sometimes before you can even begin to address a problem, you need to establish a basic human connection.
Right.
He's creating a safe space for her to open up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the real story begins to unfold. In the quiet of that cafe, away from the noise and chaos of the streets, she finally starts to share her story.
And it's heartbreaking. We learn about the car accident that killed her parents, leaving her in the care of an uncaring uncle.
Oh, gosh.
It's like her whole world has been shattered and she's desperately trying to pick up the pieces.
The source describes her as trembling tears streaming down her face, really struggling to articulate her grief. It's raw and powerful. And then something unexpected happens. Keanu, who usually keeps his personal life very private, opens up about his own difficult childhood.
Wow.
He talks about the challenges he faced, the losses he experienced.
Wow, I hadn't thought about that. He's not just offering sympathy, he's sharing his own vulnerability.
Right.
What do you think that does for her?
I think it creates a bridge of understanding. It lets her know that she's not alone in her pain, that even someone like Keanu Reeves has faced hardship and come out the other side.
Right.
It's a subtle but powerful way of saying, I see you, I hear you, and I understand.
And that shared vulnerability leads to a turning point in their conversation. Remember that sign she was holding?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out, "I need help. It's urgent," wasn't about her. It was
Oh.
about her kitten, Toby.
A kitten.
Yes.
Okay.
A kitten named Toby.
Here's where the story takes on a whole new layer of meaning.
Okay.
We learn that Toby was a gift from her parents, her last remaining connection to them. He's more than just a pet. He's a symbol of their love, a living, breathing reminder of their presence in her life.
And to make matters worse, her uncle wants to get rid of him.
Oh, no.
He sees Toby as just another mouth to feed another complication in an already difficult situation.
With a detail that really highlights her desperation.
Yeah.
Imagine that, losing your parents, being forced to live with someone who doesn't care about you, and then facing the prospect of losing your beloved pet, your last tangible connection to your family.
Right.
It's no wonder she was so hesitant to open up initially.
Right. It's like she's carrying the weight of the world on her 12-year-old shoulders.
Yeah.
But even in the midst of all this hardship, she's determined to protect Toby. And that's when she reveals the real reason for her desperation. Toby isn't just unwanted, he's sick.
Oh, so it's even more than that.
Yes, and not just a little sniffle.
Okay.
She suspects he has an intestinal obstruction,
Oh, wow.
which, as our sources point out, is a potentially life-threatening condition.
Oh, gosh.
Wait, how does she even know that?
Well, the source mentions that her mother was a veterinarian.
Okay.
So she grew up around animals, learning about their care, and recognizing the signs of illness.
Ah.
It's a detail that adds another layer to her character,
Yeah.
revealing a resourcefulness and resilience that goes beyond her years.
It's like that knowledge was passed down to her, a legacy from her mother that's helping her now in this incredibly difficult situation.
Exactly. And it's at this point that the story takes on a real sense of urgency.
Okay.
She knows that time is running out for Toby, and she's desperate for help.
Hmm.
But she's also terrified of what will happen if she fails to save him.
So she's clinging to hope, but she's also bracing herself for the worst.
Yeah.
It's a lot for anyone to handle, let alone a child who's already been through so much.
Right.
And that's where Keanu steps in and makes a promise that changes everything. He tells her, "We'll find Toby and help him. You don't have to face this alone."
Wow, it's a crucial turning point in their relationship. He's
Right.
not just offering sympathy or a warm meal. He's stepping into a role of responsibility,
Right.
committing to being there for her and Toby through this crisis.
And he doesn't waste any time. He asks her to lead him to where she's hidden Toby.
Okay.
They head into a dark alley,
Oh my gosh.
and there, huddled in a corner, is this tiny, frail kitten. The source describes him as thin and barely moving, letting out a faint meow, as if summoning his last bit of strength.
It's a vivid image, isn't it?
Yes.
It paints a stark picture of just how dire the situation is.
Mm-hmm.
This kitten is clinging to life, and this young girl is clinging to him.
And Keanu, without hesitation, scoops Toby up and says, "Let's get him to a vet."
Wow. Action? Not just words? He's not waiting for someone else to step up.
Right.
He's taking charge,
Yeah.
becoming her advocate, her protector. It's a powerful demonstration of his character, and it sets the stage for what's to come.
This is where things get really intense.
Yeah.
And we'll pick up the story there in the next part of our deep dive. Last we left off, they were rushing this frail little kitten, Toby, to the vet.
Right.
Let's talk about a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So what happens next? Does Toby make it?
Well, the vet examines Toby and confirms the girl's fears.
Oh.
It is an obstruction,
Okay.
and it requires immediate surgery.
Oh, God.
The source really highlights the tension of this moment.
Yeah.
The girl's desperate hope, battling with the fear of losing Toby, her only connection to her parents.
It's like that saying, it's always darkest before the dawn. But dawn is still a big if at this point.
Exactly. And remember, even if Toby survives the surgery, she's still facing the uncertainty of what comes next.
Right.
Her living situation with the uncle is clearly not working.
Yeah.
So there's this underlying tension throughout this whole ordeal, this sense of, okay, we're dealing with the immediate crisis, but what about the bigger picture?
Right. Keanu has stepped up in this incredible way, but it's not like he can wave a magic wand and fix her entire life.
Right.
Or can he? Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Back to Toby, what happens with the surgery?
Well, the vet informs them that the surgery is risky and, of course, expensive.
Yeah.
But Keanu, without missing a beat, says, "We're doing it. Don't worry about the cost."
Okay. I know we've already established that Keanu is an amazing human being.
Right.
But come on, this is next level generosity. I mean, he's already taken this girl under his wings, so to speak. And now he's taking on the financial burden of a complicated surgery for a kitten he just met.
It's a testament to his character.
Yeah.
The sources paint a picture of a man who doesn't just talk the talk. He walks the walks.
Mm-hmm.
He sees a need, and he acts without hesitation, without making a big deal out of it.
So the surgery happens. What's the verdict?
It's a success.
Yay.
Toby pulls through.
Oh, good.
But as the source points out, the recovery process is long and uncertain.
Right.
There are moments of relief when Toby shows signs of improvement, but also setbacks that bring back that fear of losing him.
Oh, no.
The girl's basically living on an emotional roller coaster.
Mhm.
But throughout it all, she never leaves Toby's side.
That's powerful. I can't even imagine what she must have been going through. But her strength and resilience in the face of all this adversity are inspiring.
Yeah.
She's determined to see Toby through this,
Mm-hmm.
to honor the memory of her parents by protecting their precious gift.
And Keanu is right there with her, offering support and encouragement every step of the way.
Oh.
The source mentions a particularly poignant moment.
Okay.
Toby is finally awake after the surgery, and the girl's allowed to see him.
Mm-hmm.
She approaches his cage, cautiously afraid to startle him,
Yeah.
and whispers, "Hey, buddy, you're so strong. I'm here now."
Oh, that gives me chills. It's such a tender moment, and it speaks volumes about the depth of their bond.
Mm-hmm.
Toby represents so much more than just a pet to her.
Right.
He's a symbol of hope, a reminder that love endures even in the darkest of times.
And Keanu, observing this interaction, sees the depth of their connection.
Yeah,
He realizes that this isn't just about saving a kitten.
right.
It's about helping this girl heal and rebuild her life.
Okay, so Toby's on the mend. But what about the girl's situation? She can't go back to living with that uncaring uncle.
You're right, and Keanu knows it too.
Okay.
As they're leaving the clinic, she voices her fear about what will happen to Toby when her uncle finds out.
Oh, no.
Keanu reassures her, saying, "Don't worry, we'll figure something out. You're not alone in this."
It's like he's saying, I've got you.
Right.
But it's more than just words. He immediately starts making calls, leveraging his connections to find a solution.
Okay.
He reaches out to organizations that specialize in helping at-risk youth.
This is where Keanu's influence really comes into play.
Yeah.
He could have easily just paid for the surgery and walked away patting himself on the back for a job well done.
Right.
But he understands that her needs go beyond immediate medical care.
It's like recognizing that treating the symptom doesn't necessarily address the underlying cause.
Yeah.
It's about creating a sustainable solution, not just a temporary fix.
Exactly. And through his network, he's able to find a temporary safe haven for her and Toby. It's a place where she can feel secure, where Toby can recover in a loving environment,
Yeah.
and where she can start to process everything she's been through.
Okay, so that's a huge step in the right direction. But temporary is the key word here, right?
Right.
This isn't a forever home.
You're picking up on the nuances.
Yes.
It's a moment of respite, a chance to breathe and regroup.
Mm-hmm.
But the bigger question still looms. What does the future hold for them? Where do they go from here?
Well, I guess we'll have to wait for part 3 to find out. Okay, so we left off with the girl and Toby, and, they finally found some peace and stability in this temporary home.
Right, yeah.
But temporary, by definition, means it can't last forever.
Right.
What happens next?
Well, what's fascinating here is that while Keanu steps back a bit, his influence doesn't fade.
Okay.
The source makes it clear he's still involved.
Yeah.
But more behind the scenes now. He's working with the organization to ensure they find the best possible long-term solution for the girl and Toby.
It's like he's planted this seed of hope and is now nurturing its growth from a distance, giving it space to blossom.
That's a great analogy. And while Toby's recovering physically, the girl is starting to heal emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
She's surrounded by people who care a safe environment and remember her passion for animals.
Yeah.
It's being rekindled.
Right.
The source mentions she starts devouring veterinary books, almost as if picking up where her mother left off.
It's almost like that knowledge, that connection to her mother through veterinary medicine was dormant, waiting for the right conditions to flourish.
Right.
And now, thanks to Keanu, she's in a place where it can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful example of how, even amidst tragedy, seeds of resilience and passion can still find a way to grow.
Okay, so Toby's getting better. The girl is finding her footing. But they still need a permanent home.
Right.
What happens on that front?
This is where the story takes another heartwarming turn. Remember, Keanu's been working with that organization?
Yeah.
Well, they find a potential foster family, a couple incredibly loving and dedicated to animal welfare.
It's like the stars aligned. But what about the girl's reaction? After everything she's been through, trusting strangers must be incredibly difficult.
Of course. The source highlights her initial hesitation.
Right.
Understandable,
Yeah.
right? But then she visits their house.
Okay.
And something shifts. There's this palpable sense of warmth and kindness. And get this, they have a big fenced-in backyard.
Wow, perfect for Toby.
Perfect for Toby to run and play.
It's those little details that often make the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Knowing Toby would have space freedom, it probably resonated with her own desire for a place to heal and grow.
Absolutely. And slowly, cautiously, she starts to let her guard down, to see the possibility of a real family, a place where both she and Toby can belong.
Okay, I'm not crying, you're crying.
Yeah, it's a beautiful moment.
So she moves in with the foster family.
She does.
What about Keanu? Does he just disappear from this story?
Not exactly.
Yeah.
Remember, his role has shifted. He's not the active rescuer anymore, but he's still present in a different way. The source mentions he stays in touch with the organization,
Okay.
making sure things are going well.
It's like that saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Keanu didn't just want to solve the immediate problem.
Right?
He wanted to empower her to create a better future for herself.
Beautifully put.
Yeah.
And months go by and the girl thrives. Toby is healthy, happy, running around that spacious backyard. The girl is actively involved in animal care, her passion for veterinary medicine growing stronger every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day Keanu receives a letter.
Ooh, a letter.
Mm.
I love the old school feel of that. What does it say?
It's from the girl, and it's full of gratitude.
Ah,
But more importantly, self-belief.
wow.
She writes about how much he changed her life, not just by saving Toby, but by showing her that there's still good in the world,
Mm-hmm.
that someone believed in her when she felt invisible. It's clear his actions sparked something profound within her.
It's amazing how one small act of kindness can have such a massive ripple effect.
Yeah.
He probably didn't realize at the time that he wasn't just saving a kitten and a girl.
Right.
He was igniting a passion, a future.
And the story concludes with a powerful reflection from Keanu.
Okay.
He writes in his journal, "Sometimes a small gesture can change an entire life, and in return, our own lives are changed for the better."
Wow, talk about coming full circle. It's a beautiful reminder that even the smallest acts of compassion can have a profound impact, not just on the recipient, but on the giver as well. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of everything, how even a chance encounter on a rainy night can lead to a ripple effect of hope and healing.
It's a reminder that we all have the power to make a difference, to be that person who sees the invisible, who reaches out a hand instead of turning away.
What stood out to you the most about this story? Was it Keanu's extraordinary generosity, the girl's incredible resilience, or maybe the symbolic role of Toby the kitten, who became a beacon of hope for both of them? Let us know your thoughts, because that's what we love about deep dives, uncovering these hidden gems of human connection, these stories that remind us of the enduring power of compassion, even in the face of adversity.
Because in the end, isn't that what we all crave? Connection, kindness, and the knowledge that even in the darkest of times, there's still light to be found?